Today I messed up by not getting a new wedding band after losing a lot of weight. So I inflated like a balloon over COVID, to a dangerous degree. I also got married late last year, and we got me an enormous ring for my enormous finger sausage. Around the same time I started to get into a rhythm with food and exercise, and I've been successfully losing weight since then. I'm down almost 100 pounds. So I was eating an apple as I went to pick up my wife from work last night. After I chomped that thing down to its core, I rolled down the window to throw the core out. It'll degrade, don't judge me, but I've lost so much weight since we got married that my wedding band has regularly started slipping off my finger. Anyways, my wedding band is on the side of the freeway somewhere next to an apple core now. I told my wife, and she laughed and suggested I buy a set silicone ones of various sizes off Amazon until I'm at my target weight. Today I messed up by looking on my wife of 9 years phone. Hello everyone. This is my first ever Reddit post, so please excuse any format issues. This is a fresh event and I haven't even confronted her yet. To give a little backstory, my wife, F24, and I, M24, met in high school and have been together for coming up on 9 years. Largely it's been a great relationship with the occasional argument like any healthy marriage. We've traveled the world together, seen 4 different continents, lived in the Caribbean, and I even proposed in Paris. We don't have any kids but do have a few pets. I, like everyone else, am not perfect, but damn have I tried. I've never cheated, always been supportive, and have always been a level head in the relationship, never once raising my voice. I even moved across the country to a state I don't enjoy so that she could be near her family. She in return has largely been supportive of me and moved several times while I was starting my career. The SX life has been okay, although I have raised my concerns lately over the lack of effort from her side, not only in the form of SX but also just affection in general. I approached this topic lightly as to not upset her, but I still wanted to get my thoughts out there. I even admitted I could probably be more affectionate and promised her I would be moving forward. I say all of this to show that our relationship has been anything but boring, and I've tried to form a healthy line of communication between us so any concerns could be addressed. This brings us to within the last couple of weeks. I'd noticed she would hide her phone screen from me almost constantly and her notifications were turned off. Not being oblivious but wanting to give her the benefit of the doubt, I talked to her about it. I told her I had seen one conversation with a guy I didn't know, which is true, and that I wasn't comfortable with it. I told her I didn't want to look through her phone, so long as she just stopped doing anything I may find inappropriate. She agreed and apologized for making me uncomfortable, and I left it at that. Of course it doesn't end there. More recently, she's been going out with her girlfriends to bars on weekends and coming home late. I encouraged her to have a healthy friend group and do things with them, hoping she'd be happier when spending time with me. Of course I had my concerns, but again, I wanted a healthy relationship where I wasn't some jealous overbearing spouse. Now for tonight. She goes out with friends and gets borderline blackout drunk. She says she's going to spend the night at her friend's, but I tell her I'd prefer she come home, which she does. I help her in the shower to clean up. She'd thrown up, light a few candles and let her sit in there. But here is where I messed up. My thoughts got the best of me and I looked through her phone. I saw text messages with a random number telling her she looked good and calling her babe. She was of course reciprocating. I also looked through her pictures and noticed some explicits she hadn't sent to me, but were clearly meant for someone. I did confront her in the shower, but she's too intoxicated to understand. Even with my newfound knowledge, I helped her dry and get into bed with a cup of water. I know what this means, I'm not an idiot. Cheating is absolutely a deal breaker for me, but I'm just so shocked and heartbroken she'd throw away almost a decade of experiences and relationship, especially since we were just talking about seriously having children. I'll confront her when she wakes up and likely realizes what this means for our future. It'll be a difficult conversation, but obviously has to be done. Today I messed up by accidentally Pavlov conditioning myself. Obligatory, this didn't happen today but over the course of a decade. To set some background, I started smoking weed when I was 14. I remember the first time I smoked, I laughed so much to the point of dropping to the floor and rolling around on the road in the neighborhood. It was great. However, the more I smoked, the more the joyous bubbliness was replaced with paranoia. I was wildly paranoid that I'd get caught by my parents. Either they'd smell it on me or they'd realize I'm acting kinda weird. This led to me having a very well-structured smoke routine. Before I'd smoke on my room's balcony, I'd make sure I made casual leaving remarks to anyone around and then pee in the bathroom before entering my room. That way I would have no reason to leave my room when I'm stoned. This went on for all through high school as I kept smoking. I'd always go through the same routine. Say my goodbyes, take a piss, lock my room and get blazed. Mind you, I was smoking on the daily. I went off to college and things became a bit relaxed and I was able to partake in my favorite pastime with no worry. However, I notice this, whenever I'm about to smoke or light up, especially the first joint of the day, I feel like I really have to piss. And the feeling is intense, like I have a full bladder only for dribbles to come out. I thought it was something that would go away, but it still happens to me right now and I'm 26. Every time I want to smoke weed, I feel like I really have to pee. And this doesn't happen for cigarettes or shisha or vape or anything. It's just weed. Could this be that classical conditioning we learned about in biology when we were kids? You tell me. Today I messed up by messing around with my fiancé. This just happened about 10 minutes ago. My fiancé and I, after a long day of work, decided to go in the pool and drink some wine this evening. After about an hour or so we went upstairs just to change out of our bathing suits. After undressing she playfully does a little booty dance in front of me and then bends over to grab some clothes. At this point I am also not wearing clothes and decide to get up behind her and give her a poke on the butt, not with my finger. She clearly was not expecting this because her immediate reaction was to have her hand go through her legs and smack what was hitting her. The problem was she used all her force to smack me in the balls. I immediately go down to the ground for a couple minutes, and she just keeps nervously laughing as she does when she gets in these kinds of situations. She swears she thought it was my finger poking her. Anyway, we are now about to go eat dinner and are laughing about it as I recover. Today I messed up by agreeing to a three-way with my best friend. I, F19, and my best friend, Eva, F19, have been inseparable since 5th grade. Her and I are polar opposites. I'm mixed, on the shorter side, with brown eyes and hair, and a bit chunky I'll admit. While Eva is white, blonde hair, green eyes, with a lanky athletic build. She's very extroverted. I'm on the shyer side. She's the one that got all the boys' attention. I was the supportive best friend. I've always thought she was the most attractive girl I've had the pleasure of meeting. Earlier last week Eva said she's been watching a lot of three-way porn, and started having thoughts about being with another girl. I'm by myself, and pretty shy when it comes to the deed. Eva, again, is the exact opposite. She's been into it since her early teens and has been open about it. We have always joked about being for each other. We give each other a quick peck on the lips when we have to go after hanging out, and we even made a pact that if we're married by 30 we'll marry each other. So this led me to jokingly saying we should have a three-way with someone to find out if she's bi or not, and she seriously agreed, which I obviously didn't turn down. We decided to make a Tinder account with both of us explaining how we just want someone, preferably a guy, as to her request, to join us, no strings attached. After finding a suitable match, we met up beforehand to explain the boundaries and rules we talked about. The next day would be when it all happened. For me it was a great experience, and afterwards Eva agreed. Now, as much as me and Eva are opposite, one thing we absolutely do have in common is our taste in men. I don't want to sound pretentious, but I do feel the man paid a bit more attention to me than Eva. Later the guy we were intimate with gave me his number afterwards while Eva was cleaning up in the bathroom. I thought he did the same with her. This is where it all falls apart. After the fact she said she said no strings attached, but she wanted to see the guy again. IOFC told her to go for it. But when she checked on Tinder to message him, he is unmatched. She wasn't too happy about. I just said to text him, and she said she didn't have his number. Confused I said well he gave it to me. She got absolutely furious, saying how that was selfish and rude, that I was trying to keep him for myself, and I wanted too much attention from men. I tried to explain I thought he had also given her his number, but she wouldn't listen. We haven't had a fight this big ever. She hasn't called or texted me back since then. I feel like such a bad friend for letting a random person come between us like that. I will admit I did text the guy telling him the situation, and we have had a couple of conversations since. I just don't want 8 years of friendship going down the drain, especially if it's my fault.